Hi, I'm Danielle Jean-Baptiste. I am playing the lighting designer in Emerson Stage's 10 out of 12.
I'm Angela. I am the lighting designer for 10 out of 12.
What was it like to design 10 out of 12 in terms of the lighting? What was that process like?
So I got my design assignment in March and I read the script immediately, and I started having meetings with Maureen and the rest of the design team. And we started putting together what we thought the show was actually about and what Maureen's directorial concept was and the scenic designer's ideas, and we all started collaborating a lot. And once I got a preliminary scenic design, I started working on my part of the show. So I started laying out acting areas and establishing things like color and the different locations of the show. The lighting designer is obviously like a very real character in the show, so things like lights doing things that are wrong is important for the process. So it was necessary for me to find lights that could do everything that I wanted and still stay within my budget and within my design constraints of the show.
And it's specifically hard because my character is doing specific cues, and some cues that just don't even exist, as we've talked about. So that's been hard to unlearn everything, but then have to have someone else making your choices, but you're making their choices. It's crazy. A lot of my lines are based in the reality of the cues that I would be creating and plotting and calling with my lighting assistant. Ryan, I love you wherever you are. So kind of creating this character was a lot easier than I thought, because I'm getting a lot of the framework of what my character does, either in the script or from you or online in the manuals I've read or the videos I've watched. So it was really easy. And also, when I started acting, I would hang out a lot in the tech booth. So I'd always be watching people running cues or making edits and stuff, and this is someone's job. And I also, another thing I brought into it was that I used to do a lot of visual arts, so I kind of thought of my character as being a painter. I'm painting a picture on stage, and I'm using the materials of the lights that I have and the gels that I have and the actors that I have and the costumes to painting. Yeah. So what was it like to work with Maureen Shea on to develop these designs?
Watching Maureen work is really interesting because I feel like I get a better feel for what the actors are supposed to be thinking, and watching the actors, I get that too. And Maureen is just a really incredibly intelligent director in her choices, and watching her work is really interesting, and I really enjoy working with her. I think she gives me a lot of trust in the room, which is great.
For us, and you know this because you were there, it's been a lot of us talking back and forth and me asking okay, well, what does this mean, or what am I doing here, or my assistant being what do I actually physically do on the board. A lot of back and forth on what's actually going to be happening on stage so I can visualize it as my character and know what I'm trying to build. So it's been really fun though, because I'm playing somebody I have a lot of respect for, so yeah. What is the most challenging scene to design?
I think it's the scenes where you're talking and we're sitting in a hold, actually, because there are moments where the director asks for things like the ring around an eclipse, and it's for me, I think that I would probably feel upset as a designer, and I would probably just do exactly what the director says, but you're also making choices and you're calling out different things, and at the end of the day, what the director says doesn't make perfect sense. So just doing exactly what he says is kind of impossible. So you talking through different channels and different groups means that there are cues constantly being executed in the booth upstairs where cues are actually being executed. So that's a lot of how can I make this change happen, and how can I make this scene progress and look better when it already was supposed to start good.
What element of this show's lighting design are you most excited to see come to fruition?
I'm kind of excited to see the really silly moments. There's a part in the show where an actor is standing in another actor's light, and it's not on purpose, but the designer asks him to stay there, and the light just like moves away from him. So I'm excited for like really silly things like that. Like I'm excited to just sit down and watch that happen, because I think it's humor for people like me who just get to watch that, and I'm interested to see how the audience will respond and how the actors will play off of that. I think it'll be funny.
The humor is in the kind of mundane, kind of like monotony and brain drain that tech actually can be, where 15 people are doing 15 different things. So just getting the timing right so that the jokes land, and it's funny. The show is all about the minutia, and it's all about the build-up. So I'm really excited to see just how the audience interacts with how we're interacting with each other on stage. And I'm also really excited to be like smack dab in the middle of the audience and have people all around me watching me.
Yeah, that's gonna be silly.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I hope I don't break. Were there any technical concerns that you had when you were designing this show?
Yeah. I think the most literal way to put it would be things like you have a monitor sitting in front of you that some audience members and yourself are going to be watching and seeing different cues execute and different channels coming up in groups and things like that. So making sure that you're seeing something similar to what is happening in the booth and happening for me as well, and making sure it's all accurate is a huge challenge. And even small things like running power detect tables and making sure there are enough little lights for me during tech and for you to have before you go into a show. That's a big challenge. And things like you being lit has been really challenging for me because designers never sit in their own work. So making sure that you are lit for the audience, but also making sure that it's not fake has been really challenging for me. And even things like working in the Semel have been really challenging for me because audiences sit on 3 sides of the stage, so some people's front light is other people's side light, and that is just really challenging for me as a designer.
Yeah. What was it like working with an actor who's doing what you're doing?
I was actually really scared last year when I found out like an actor was going to be not like playing me, but playing the role that I live. That has been really weird. It hasn't been as weird as I thought it was going to be. I was really worried that you were going to like, oh, Angela, you do this thing because you feel this way, and that made me really nervous. Especially because I kind of beat myself up sometimes as a designer, so things like that made me really nervous that someone was going to watch and like judge, I guess. But I've actually had a lot of fun with it. Like, I really enjoy talking to people about lighting, and I feel like you've been really invested in what I have to say, and not just like because you're playing the role, but because it's like I think it's interesting for you.
It's so cool.
So I've had like a lot of fun working on it like together. I think it's really cool. Have you ever been a designer for a show before?
Not in the slightest. I have directed, so I have worked with designers, and like some of my best friends are designers, but no, never designed a show. I'm sorry. I feel judged. What shows have you worked on before as a lighting designer?
Over the summer, I designed 9 shows in 2 months. So some of the best ones were I designed Godspell, which was really fun. Yeah, it was sick. It was really fun. I designed Where's Charlie, which is like an older show, but it was like a lot softer, a lot less like rock than Godspell, which was challenging. I designed a Gilbert and Sullivan. I designed 2 Gilbert and Sullivan shows this summer. Yeah, I've designed a lot of like weird theater that just like don't all like go together, but like I have been challenged in a lot of different ways, which is great. Do you have a dream show that you would like to design?
Just because I was in it, and I think specifically like lighting design, Sunday in the Park with George, because there's a whole song in it that's called Color and Light. It's all about like pointillism and creating something that close up is broken apart and doesn't look like an image, but like far away. It plays off itself and the basis of just a few colors to make a masterpiece. I think it's like, God, that show is so pretty and to make it work with the music too and like the emotional side of it. Yeah, that would be really fun.
Thank God that's my answer too.
That's so funny. We're the same person.
So the actor that plays the lighting designer and the lighting designer are clearly on the same track.
Yes.
So
We're on the same channel. So sorry.
I would love to design that show one day.
I think you would do like a kick-ass job.
That show would be so fun.
Yeah, I think you would do a wonderful job.
Looks like we have to one day.
Okay. M Stage. If you want to come see my lovely lighting design choices, come on down to Emerson Stage production of 10 out of 12.
And if you'd like to see my lighting design choices as well, you could come see it November 21st through 24th in the Semel Theater.